All right, welcome to the Daily Fantasy Flex podcast, the NBA edition. It is the end of January, it's January 30th, and we are here discussing a smaller slate than we usually discuss on a Monday. It is only 5 games. There's actually 6 games today, but the first one is at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's not in the main slate, and there's very limited GPPs available for like the all-day slate on FanDuel. So for the purposes of this podcast, we're only going to focus on those 5 games in the main slate, and we're going to keep it to positions only, but of course we'll run through injuries and discuss everything like usual. So I will introduce my co-host. I am joined by Justin Phan and Jay Persson as usual. Jay, how you doing, man?
Doing good. It's nice to talk about a quick slate for once. We've definitely been on a stretch of pretty heavy slates, but at the same time, it's kind of sad not being able to talk about Embiid and young Nash. So it kind of hurts a little. Boogie. We kind of just are sacrificing that game. But yeah, 5-game slate, really small, and I think good for tournaments because there's kind of a lot of chalk on this slate, which we'll get into.
Are you boycotting the All-Star game because Embiid is not in it?
I'm not. I'm a DGen. I can't.
Fair enough. Justin, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Excited to get some jelly beans back on that dunk contest last year. Me and Pete rode Levine pretty hard, even though Aaron Gordon clearly won. Looking, I think he'll run it back with and get some action on Gordon this time.
Yeah, with Levine out, I think even though Levine was in, like, there's no Gordon was going to win because everyone knew that he was supposed to win. They gave it to Levine because of his prior year. Now they're going to give it to Gordon because of his prior year. Gordon is the lock.
It's completely a narrative. It's they don't even care about the dunks. When Gordon was doing these ridiculous behind the backs with the mascot or whatever, I was sweating a little bit because those are pretty ridiculous. But I was confident that the judges would come through with the narrative. Narrative street always prevails.
Narrative street is all it is.
That was a joke, man. I'm looking to fire away this year hard.
On Gordon?
I don't know who yet. I'm gonna think about it, but I'm not.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. It's very.
I just hope it's not rigged again. Is all.
Gordon. Well, I think if it's gonna be rigged, it's gonna be rigged in Gordon's favor. He's the best, and it would be rigged in his favor.
Yep. He's got narrative and the talent.
Well, I'll just let you know for our company, Jelly Bean Wagers, you're not going to get good odds on Gordon. It's going to be.
I don't need good odds on Gordon.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'll take whatever you guys give me.
I think Pete and I got we laid minus 200, minus 300, something like that on Levine. That was not good odds comparing, looking back on it. But yeah. Just donkey wager came through.
The interesting ones are the over on the actual game because it always seems impossibly high and it always goes over. And in the 3-point contest, that's actually a legit sweat.
Yeah, we're going to be firing hard, I think.
Yeah,
really hard.
Of course, we'll keep everyone up to date on this stuff. But let's jump into this slate, which is 5 games. Starts at 7:30 tonight instead of the usual 7. So just be aware of that. And Jay, I'll kick to you. Can you run through notable injuries for tonight?
Yeah, we got a few. Starting with the Nets, we got Joe Harris out once again with that ankle injury. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, questionable right ankle injury. Tyler Johnson, kind of the biggest news of this slate, arguably, that we don't know of yet, I guess. But he's questionable but on track to play. He did go through shoot-around. And as the Heat always say, he will warm up with the intent to play. So we can kind of expect him to return. No word yet on a minutes limit for him. Evan Fournier could play. I think they're kind of trending the way. He's been very close lately, and it's possible that they waited for the second leg of back-to-back to bring him back. So that's another big one to monitor on this short slate. Avery Bradley's still out with that Achilles injury. Al Horford, we haven't gotten an update on yet. We can consider him questionable with the groin injury that held him out last game. Kevin Love, big news, ruled out already. Left last game early with back spasms and stayed in Cleveland. Darren Williams out once again with the toe injury. Bogut is questionable. He left last night's game early, second leg of back-to-back with a hamstring injury, so that's another one to monitor. Brandon Wright is expected to make his season debut today. Should be pretty limited, but we haven't gotten specifics on that yet. And JaMychal Green, once again, listed questionable with the right knee injury.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. All right, well, let's dive into these positions. So this podcast will probably be a little bit shorter since we're not going to do the 2 games and then the positions. And also it's not 10, 12 games. It's only 5. So, but we'll keep it rolling and go through, we'll probably talk about a lot of these players. Let's start at point guard. There's obviously a value guy here that I think, you can debate whether he's a must play or not, but I think point guard is the most loaded position of the day. You have 2 guys, and I think we'll save them just for a little bit later, is in Isaiah Thomas and Eric Bledsoe, who are the 2 most expensive guys, but they have, I think, maybe clearly the toughest matchups. And then you have a lot of guys in this mid-tier range, in Kyrie, Dragic, Rubio, Conley, Peyton, Reggie, sort of in that mid-tier range between like 6,000 and 8,000 that really you can make a case for any of those guys in cash or tournaments. So Justin, I'll kick to you. So my question is, value guy, I think we can agree is Yogi Ferrell. Is he a must play for you? And then in that mid-tier range, those guys I discussed, who sticks out to you as your favorite of those guys?
Yeah, I think Yogi's a must play on DK, especially where you're kind of always looking for savings, and he's 3,500 there. I think I'm probably going to lock him in. I think you can kind of look, we kind of play around with roster construction a little bit off the air, just looking at teams without Yogi on FanDuel. I still think I'm going to lean towards him going on FanDuel. It's just the matchup is ideal. Cleveland and Kyrie have given up the second highest opponent plus minus to opposing point guards this season. And Yogi played, in his first game for Dallas, he played 36 minutes the other night. And obviously Darren Williams is out again, so he can easily kind of approach that minutes total again. And, he can put up, I don't know, like half, 0.5, 0.6 DK points per minute, which is awful, and still, come out significantly ahead of his implied value. So I think he's pretty safe, at his price. I think it's kind of where you start. And yeah, I totally agree. Like, point guard's absolutely loaded today. I think there's some guys like Reggie Jackson going to be really overlooked against Boston. Isaiah Thomas, obviously the worst defensive real plus minus in the NBA by a wide margin. Dragic, you can run that back against the Nets. Absolutely destroyed them, not too long ago. Like Kyrie, obviously, without Kevin Love. And yeah, I'll save one of my kind of sneaky guys in a little bit, but let's break those guys down and kind of talk about, out of those guys we kind of just discussed after Yogi, who's kind of our top targets.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's do that. That's a great idea. So let's go with those mid guys. So the ones I discussed between like 6 and 8. So let's go Reggie, Alfred, Conley, Rubio, Dragic, Kyrie. Those are guys that I think you could all make a case for. Jay, who's your favorite of those? I mean, Kyrie is crushed without Love. I know that you've sort of had the heuristic of playing where if one of the big 3 is out, you're playing the other 2. So are you keeping to that?
Yeah, the data's there. It's why force it with other players where have volatile ceilings and floors when we know exactly kind of what Kyrie and LeBron do without Love. And Kyrie's averaged 44.6 DK points in 3 games without Love. The Mavs are really bad on second leg back-to-backs. They're 0-9 this season, so I don't see him having a bad game in this one. He's more top tier though. So for those mid-range guys you kind of mentioned, I'm pretty high on Conley, I think, for a few reasons. For tournaments especially, in that on DK, he's only 7K, massive pace up game playing the Suns, of course. Memphis is 28th in pace this season. So really like Conley in the spot at 7K. And then kind of the other guys, you mentioned Isaiah and Bledsoe with the difficult matchups. I think that will drive ownership down. On paper, I don't really want to go Isaiah at his price point, even though he's been on fire, assuming that KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will be on him. So I'm going to be a bit lighter on him. And then Bledsoe, playing against Memphis with a very slow pace down. So even though their defense has slipped lately. So I'm kind of on these other guys, Kyrie, and then I think you can run it back with Dragic for sure, 113 implied team total. So I do think that it makes sense in tournaments on this short slate where Yogi is kind of the clear-cut chalk, cheap option who might not have a ceiling that especially some of these other point guards have, of course, that I think in tournaments it makes sense to be underweight on Yogi. I think at least on FanDuel for me where you can still come up with a good lineup.
I think with Kyrie, for me, I think he's definitely a lead on DK at his price. I think he's probably not. Probably not going to play him on FanDuel. But what do you guys think about fading Kyrie completely in tournaments? Because what I'm looking at here is that they're playing a team in Dallas who's really slow in pace, and without Kevin Love this season, they've gone down significantly in pace as well. So that kind of leads me to believe that less possessions here, slower pace probably lends itself to a just kind of a lower ceiling overall, just because he just doesn't have that many possessions to kind of soak in. What do you guys think about that approach, and are you guys concerned a little bit about kind of the pace overall of this game? It kind of projects and looks to be kind of a really slow, methodical game.
Probably will be slow, and that was I wrote about that in my breakdown today. That was sort of my favorite stat that I uncovered was the Cavs are about an average pace team. They average close to 100 possessions per 48 minutes with just in general with all of their players on the season, and then without Love they go down to about 93 possessions per 48, which is it would be like right with Dallas for the slowest pace in the league. So I think the argument that you're making is, are you concerned about the pace because they go down to like where the Dallas is, so it just makes it a slow pace? And my thought is that they've shown that without Love, even though they've played at a slow pace, they've still crushed. So it almost makes me feel better about Kyrie, honestly. I don't know, maybe that's a backwards way of looking at it. What are your thoughts, Jay?
I mean, you just look at the Cavs and that team, like who's going to step up and get these points. I understand definitely there's concern with less possessions is nothing. We'd never want that. So I get it. I think fading him makes some sense because we have point guard depth and a lot like Conley, Dragic, Elf. We
Reggie
have
Jackson.
Right. We have a lot of guys. So I guess it kind of depends on what we think Kyrie's ownership will be. And that will kind of be the deciding factor probably for me, whether I'm overweight or underweight. I don't know if I'll fit him entirely. But
yeah, I think the scary thing would be like if you looked at the data and like they were actually faster with Love or their pace didn't dip. And then so you're saying, okay, so like these stats are a little inflated without Love because they're still playing fast, and if they play Dallas, it's going to slow them down. But the fact that they've already played slow and played well makes me think it's not going to dip that much. They'll play slow, but they'll be fine.
No, I get that though. But do you think it's a little inflated though because they haven't been playing slow teams? So say they've been playing like fast teams and they're still that slow. So you play a slower team, they'll be even slower. Does that make sense?
I don't think they would. I think if you think about why they would play slow, it's because Kevin Love unlocks them to play small ball, and like Channing Frye is a stretch big, but I don't think they play small with him.
Yeah, without Love, I think the offense will kind of devolve a lot into a lot of ISOs and just pounding the rock and just not a lot of movement overall. So that's kind of what I expect. But yeah, obviously we don't have to get too deep in this. I obviously think Kyrie is very strong on DK. I just kind of throwing out the possibility of fading him in tournaments, which I think is very valid given some of these other guys I like. I like a Reggie Drummond stack a lot. Those guys have a positive correlation of plus 0.1 this season. And Drummond, we'll get to him later, but I absolutely love that matchup against Boston. So, I think Reggie and Drummond is really strong. That's kind of like Reggie's probably one of my favorite tournament plays. And Jay likes Conley. I'll take Reggie Jackson. And Dragic, are we worried at all about the return of Tyler Johnson? I think that's kind of something that's looming. TJ is in a small part of this rotation. He plays 28 to 30 minutes, and a lot of them he plays at backup point guard. And how concerned are you guys about him taking minutes and some usage from guys like Dragic and a guy we'll get to in a little bit, Dion Waiters?
I'm pretty concerned about it actually. Like I would rate. Yeah, I would rate Dragic sort of my least favorite of this middle tier. Like if Tyler Johnson was out, he would be up there with Kyrie, honestly. But with Tyler Johnson in, I think you have to bump him down to sort of the lower ones of this tier. But speaking of we can talk about Tyler Johnson's impact. What about Tyler Johnson just as a play, Jay? What are your thoughts on him?
Again, it's the minutes. I think Spo would wait until he's fully healthy before playing him. So I doubt he'll barely play, but there's still kind of that upside that might be limited a little bit. So, he's cheap. I think $5K on DK.
And they're playing Brooklyn, so
right. Worse defense, so fast pace. I think it's fine taking some tournament flyers. I think it's fine.
I think if he was like closer to 4K, I would say lock him in as a really nice GPP play, but that he's 5K, which means he probably needs to hit like 27, 28 DK points for me, like really feel great about him. I think he's probably a guy you can take some flyers on, but not like too strong.
And then a guy that I think that we sort of all agree on, when to play him is Rubio. You should play him on FanDuel where he's a much better value, and you should play him at home. And so here, my question is, if you have a lineup with Rubio, is there an excuse to not have Cat in that same lineup?
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. I like Rubio a lot as a tournament play because everybody's going to be off of him. Like, he got in foul trouble last game. He barely played in the first half. I think he put like 7 minutes in the first half last game because he picked up 2 early fouls. He came in and got like a foul within like 30 seconds. And then he didn't play the rest of the first half. So coming off a game where he was a massive disappointment, has the highest correlation to Karl-Anthony Towns, 0.25 of any Wolves player. I think it makes sense. These guys both have strong home away splits, and this is a good matchup too. I don't mind this matchup at all. So I think he's going to be really sneaky, though. I like guys like Reggie Jackson and like Jay said, Conley a little better. Rubio's fine too. You can definitely push for double-digit dimes and be pretty sneaky in this one. Should be a lot of steal opportunities as well.
Yeah. Jay, what are your thoughts on these two high price guys? I mean, Thomas and Bledsoe, do you think that their ownerships are going to be low? I mean, like, obviously brutal matchups. Are they going to be low enough where they're actually like, intriguing in tournaments to get their potentially high ceiling?
Yeah, definitely. I do. I think it's nice when you get these guys at low ownerships because difficult matchups. We see it all the time where the matchup's difficult. People can still go off and have big games. I think Bledsoe, you look at Memphis, still playing really, really slow, but their defense is in the last 10 games is like 16th in defensive efficiency. So it's not too terrifying. Bledsoe's had big games. So I think for him, at low ownership, it kind of as a pivot to some of these other guys that make a lot of sense for people that are priced more appropriately will just increase their ownership. So, yeah, I'm intrigued. I think – and then you look at Isaiah, it's like nobody can stop him. So it's like, I don't like the matchup versus KCP, of course, but – he's also going 50 a game without Avery Bradley.
Is it 100% locked that KCP is actually going to slide down?
No. I'd say it's pretty high. You don't think KCP will guard Isaiah?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's a lock.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, so where are you going to put Reggie?
You just hide him. Jaylen Brown started.
But Jaylen Brown, I feel like could take advantage of.
I mean, a player like Jaylen Brown's not really going to ever take advantage of anybody like that. So we can get into him too. I think he's a nice play too.
I think Jaylen Brown's actually pretty good. You're just saying because he's so young.
No, I'm saying like I'm saying offensively. Like, what, he's just going to like abuse Reggie? Like,
well, he's significantly bigger than him.
Yeah, but
like Jaylen Brown's like a small forward playing a shooting guard, and now you're going to put a point guard on him.
Half the point guards in the league hide on the two. This isn't like new.
Yeah, no. I agree, but I'm saying that Jaylen Brown's like a pretty big two.
Okay, well,
I don't know. I agree that KCP should guard Isaiah. I don't.
Well, then you should like Isaiah a lot if you think KCP's not going to be on him.
Which I think.
I'm team Isaiah. I think I like Isaiah a lot. I mean, you look at the last kind of the last 7 second leg of back-to-backs that the Celtics have played. Here, Isaiah Thomas's point totals. Just like regular scoring point totals in the last 7 second leg of back-to-backs that they've played. 37, 34, 52, 38, 38, 38, 37. He's averaged 39.1 real-life points per game in the second leg of back-to-backs, the last 7 second leg of back-to-backs that the Boston Celtics have played. Mm-hmm. So, like, I mean, in these spots, I think he was the guy I mentioned earlier. I get the concern about KCP. I kind of watched Billman like the last time they played the Pistons, and you didn't see much KCP at all. So, we'll see. It makes sense, but he's going to be really, really overlooked in this spot. And I mean,
I don't know if he'll be that overlooked. I mean, he's been goes 50 a game without every bet 50. So it's like
But you have some pristine options. You got Kyrie without Kevin Love. You got Dragic against Brooklyn. You got Yogi Ferrell.
Yeah.
I mean, you have so many options today, and then you're kind of it's loaded. And
I mean,
Rubio's going to be the guy.
Rubio and Bledsoe are going to be the two lowest owned.
Yeah, but Rubio doesn't quite give you that ceiling that Isaiah could. If he could pop off, and he's actually 39 points per game. It's like a back-to-back the last 7.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about the KCPJ, and like you're right. He probably is high percentage to guard him, but like in case he doesn't, like that's a really nice matchup all of a sudden.
I mean, yeah.
In case he doesn't,
I'm way lower on Isaiah.
That's fair. No, it's good to have some
KCP.
Yeah, it's good to have some disagreement on the pod. Any other guys, or you want to move on? I mean, like at that point,
I think we covered it. What about the Nets point guards, and what about the Nets in general? Just with are we expecting anybody to rest? It's not really a tough part of the schedule for them, but like Dinwiddie and
I think you go.
But it's like
besides Brolo, like nobody plays 30 minutes. It's all these guys play like 20. All these guys play like 20 to 27. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want either of them.
Okay, let's move on to shooting guard, and we do have some value here. Yogi is going to be sort of the chalky value guy at point guard, and his backcourt mate in Seth Curry, who's been starting and actually been like real life basketball talk. Very good.
He smashed the Spurs yesterday.
Yeah,
smashed.
Yeah, very efficient scorer too. So good on Dallas for and yet another Kings guy that like they just like between Seth Curry and like Isaiah Thomas, like all these guys, the Kings just don't recognize that they actually have good players. Brutal.
So bad. Wait till Ben McLemore goes somewhere and is a star. Yes, Curry's the chalk though. 17 points, 4 boards, 2 dimes, over a steal a game in his last 7, 50% from 3. He's shooting just lights out, and he gets a 4.4% usage rate bump with Darren and Barea out in those 7 games, 24.1 FanDuel points. So you kind of look at his price point and at 4,300, and he's kind of the clear option for me. I doubt he'll get 10 rebounds again like last game, but I have no doubt he'll pay off his price. Huge minutes lately, so.
The Mavs are actually implied at 102. This Cavs defense is pretty disgusting lately. So
really bad. I think the thing with shooting guard, and this has more to do, I think, with just the remaining plays, but is what to do with waiters with Johnson.
Yeah,
it's going to be distributed. And I think on this slate, is this like the last who are offer waiters as a regular cash play?
I think so. Yeah,
it's perfect matchup. It's you have limited options behind him if you go Curry, so it's not like we can talk about Jaylen Brown, who's cheap, 28.4 FanDuel points averaged his last 2, 3,600 on DK. So he's intriguing to me a little bit too if you don't want to go on Waiters Island.
Yeah, I don't hate Tony Allen too. I know that's probably Phoenix has been the second worst team against opposing shooting guards. I know that Tony Allen's not like a shooting guard, literally opposite of a shooting guard, but they've allowed a lot of points. So, what are you doing with TJ, Justin?
That's
the question, right? Yeah.
It's tough because I'm looking at these other options. I'm probably leaning towards them right now, just like in FanDuel Cash, just kind of initially, because these other options I'm looking at, I think Devin Booker's too expensive against first team all defense. I don't like that matchup for him. And then with Levine's nice, he's 100 more than Waiters. But the thing is, so when I'm looking at Minnesota, they have such pronounced correlations and splits with people. So I'm either playing Rubio and Cat, or I'm playing only one of Levine and Wiggins. I'm not going to play both Levine. I'm going to play Wiggins today, I think, at small forward. And he has such a negative correlation with Levine that I rarely ever would play both of them together. I would rarely ever play Jang and Cat together, in the same cash lineup. Yeah. So today, I'm fine with Levine in tournaments. But, given that I'm on Rubio, I'm on Cat, I'm on Wiggins, I'm probably not going to have much Levine or Jang in my cash lineups at all today. So I don't think I'm going to play Levine in cash.
And Levine and Wiggins are 2 of the most negatively correlated players. So I think you don't go Jang and Cat in the same catch line, but I also think you don't go Levine and Wiggins ever.
No, that's exactly what. Exactly. And I think KCP, he's just too kind of volatile for me, given he's coming back from that shoulder injury.
If he was healthy, I'd play him.
Yeah, he played 34 minutes against the Heat, and he only put up 7.5 FanDuel points. So shot 2 for 11. I don't want to be too into recency bias, but I liked him in that spot against Miami, just kind of considering how, because he has good history against him. He put up 40 FanDuel points against them, on New Year's. So given he couldn't win that match, I'm definitely off of him today. I think he's tournament only. So, you kind of get those guys out of the way. Who else really is there to really play in cash?
Yeah, I think Waiters and Seth is sort of a fairly easy decision, even with TJ back on FanDuel. I do want to give Booker some love, because if you look at his game logs, or even if you run a trend, I did run a trend earlier, and
tough matchups.
In tough matchups, so with a negative opponent plus minus, he still put up a plus 3.09 FanDuel plus minus, and you look at his game logs, and they've had a really tough schedule in January, and he is still smashed like that. That's a big reason him and Bledsoe stepping up, along with Tyson Chandler, has been a reason they've been good. So you don't need to go him in cash, because Dion is still fine, but in GPPs, he's the play, I think.
He's a floor only guy though. You look at his game, he consistently puts up 30 FanDuel points, right? And 30 FanDuel points, if you project him for 30 FanDuel points, that's not going to really cut it. His price at 6,800. He's given that price, he's implied at 27.8. So he's barely beating value at that point, by just a couple points. So he's a floor play for me. Wayne Ellington smashed against the Nets last time, but he's going to lose it a little bit with TJ back. Any Kilpatrick love, any Shumpert love. Those are the only other guys, right? What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown a little bit. DK. He's probably the guy. Shumpert's been on and off. I'm not really high on Booker. I'm kind of ignoring him on this slate because I don't want 30 from him, and he's not going to get any steals against this team. 0 secondary stats, so it's pretty much just whatever he scores is what he's getting. And I know the position's thin, so it's tough, but maybe that's where you kind of lock in and go a very high percentage of someone you like.
You concerned about that spot against Detroit, though?
For Jaylen? Yeah, Jalen's just like a punt. He's a punt. It's so cheap.
If you want to go below
on the
4.
slate. So it's kind of I'd rather probably go Yogi at that point if you're saving that much. So I don't know if Jalen's really worth it as much, because who are you really going to spend on outside of him?
You would have to go Isaiah, Cat, and Braun or something.
Yeah, it's doable, but I don't think it's something I like. So Jalen's just more of a value play. I might not even play really.
I don't mind a little West Matt. He played pretty well. He came back from injury, and he played really well against the Spurs. So if he's going to get 30-plus minutes, he shot the ball well in their last game. So, playing alongside, I think, Seth, who is sort of made their offense much better. They've been 6-3 since they started Seth Curry, and just a more efficient offense. So I think playing alongside him, it opens up a little bit.
Wes is going to get LeBron, though, right?
Yeah.
That's not ideal. I still like the price. He's 4,500 on DK, but they're playing small. They're playing Yogi and Seth at the guard spots and Wes at the 3. So he's going to get LeBron, which is not great.
It's more just you have to go someone to beat
right.
Let's just leave the shooting guard spot empty today, and then just play extra.
I think
can we do that? Can we play 3-point guards today?
Levine is kind of in that Rubio realm where it's Cat's the chalk, but I still like all the other Wolves guys. I think one thing that you mentioned with the negative correlation and kind of how you want to do that is to make sure when you build multiple lineups, say you set exposures, and the exposures match up perfectly, I would just recommend either setting more groups than you usually do, and if you don't do that, going through your lineups page and be okay, how many Wolves do I have on each team, and editing them from there, just to kind of make sure to optimize your correlation with some of these guys.
They're probably the most unique team in terms of home and away splits and correlation. They have the strongest. It's pretty clear. You're playing Cat at home, you're playing Rubio at home. You're playing Jang on the road. You're playing one of Wiggins or Levine. That's it. It's pretty clear with that team.
My favorite part of, or not my favorite, one of my favorite parts about building multiple lineups is when you actually go to your lineups after you've saved them and you see all your player exposures. If you click on a player, it'll show you, it'll reorder the exposures for that person. So if you click on Ricky Rubio, then it'll show you the exposures that you have with the other players. Right. So what I do is when they're playing at home, I click on Ricky Rubio and I make sure that it's 100% cat.
Yeah.
So I have no lineups with Rubio without cat. So definitely a cool thing there. Let's move on to small forward. Jay, you have to play LeBron, right? You just got to lock him in.
Yeah, I think so. On this slate, for sure. Average 54 without Love this season. I mean, is there any concern, really? You're playing Dallas, slow pace. Wes has been a good defender. I don't think he'll really slow him down too much. But is there concern on the second leg of back-to-back at all?
I think there are a lot of concerns.
He is playing. We know that. But
I think there are a lot of concerns, but if you look at the positional scarcity, that gets rid of it. What are your thoughts there, Justin?
I completely agree. With Kyrie, you can definitely fade in tournaments because there are so many point guard options today. With small forward, it's like LeBron and Wiggins, and that's the top end guys that you're looking at. Then it becomes pretty thin after that. We can actually talk about those guys right now. So right now, I think we're both kind of in agreement. We're all kind of in agreement that we're gonna try to get LeBron and Wiggins, right?
Yeah.
I'm okay with Jay instead of Wiggins. If you just absolutely love a lineup. I think LeBron and Wiggins are sort of top two, but I really like Jay actually. Jay Crowder.
Yeah. He's been nice. The spot's tough, and I feel a little bit better if Horford was out.
Yeah.
So I think I'm kind of waiting to see how that shakes out, but it's okay. PJ Tucker gets a lot of crap for being super boring, but he's been very consistent because he's been seeing massive minutes. He's been seeing 34 minutes, which I'd much rather play PJ Tucker than Tony Allen at this point if you're kind of comparing the two. Kind of boring, low usage punts. Beyond that, you can look at, I don't know, Uncle Jeff, if Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon is questionable. I don't think we mentioned that earlier, but that's a big one for me for a multitude of reasons. I think you look at Wiggins, if Aaron Gordon's out, Aaron Gordon's been their best defender. Basically, and always D'ing up the opposing offensive players. So Wiggins, I like a lot more if Aaron Gordon's out, and you had his minutes, 38 a game, basically. I'm going to try really hard to get Wiggins. I see what you're saying with Jay, and I think off air we kind of made a lineup that fit really well with Jay. You kind of have to take that sacrifice if you want to spend up at other spots or whatever, but I definitely rank in terms of price and production Wiggins higher. And I'm probably fine falling down to Jay Crowder if Horford's out, which is another big piece of news on this slate.
Yeah, Jay and Wiggins are pretty tight for me right now. Wiggins sort of he has that really nice minutes floor. He's played at least 35 minutes in each of his last 15 games. So, that he's going to be on the floor. But, from an efficiency standpoint, it gets scary, officially, if Cat's going to crush, maybe Wiggins – if he takes a couple less shots, and all of a sudden, it's scary whether he really is a value. So I like Jake quite a bit. Is there any chance that LeBron's on Harrison instead of Wes? Maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
They can get away with moving James Jones over, which I presume he's probably going to start.
You would probably rather have him on Wes just because of Harrison Barnes' size and the fact that he likes to post up a little bit, right? So maybe that makes us like Wes a little bit more than Harrison.
Mm.
I don't know.
HB's tough. I don't think I'm going to look at HB too much.
I don't like him today.
Yeah. No, that's fair though. If Channing Frye is on the court, I don't know. It just does make sense. It does kind of make sense for LeBron to check HB just because they're kind of more physical guys, and HB likes to ISO and kind of bang and dribble down and get those post ups once in a while.
He loves to ISO. He doesn't like ISO.
He loves it.
He's been really
efficient.
I've been impressed. I'm not an HB guy at all. I've wanted him gone for Golden State for the longest time.
Need to find his place.
He's done his thing. Yeah, he's done his thing. All right, so like beyond those guys, we talked about the top end guys. Wiggins, LeBron, Jay Crowder. We don't like HB too much. We talked about PJ Tucker a little bit as a punt. Who else are we looking here at small forward? I think
like very middle, low.
Yeah, these are kind of tournament guys only, really. TJ Warren, I think, kind of stands out as a guy. He can either go 15 or 40. Yeah. There's like no middle ground.
I don't know why so many people cash Tucker and Warren and just kind of like play.
I think cashing Tucker is not like the worst side. No, it's not the worst side. Cashing TJ Warren, I think, doesn't make sense.
I don't know, man. It's just I know they're cheap, but it's like it's such a wide range. So for tournaments, I like both actually, especially when you get into everybody's gonna have LeBron. Just the way the slate shapes. Yeah. Is there? I mean, do you fade LeBron in tournaments? And what other two guys would you even go? It's not.
I know that's the problem, right?
Like.
Because Jay's a cash-only guy. Wiggins, we think of Wiggins as this guy who can go up for 50, but this year he's been sort of a cash profile. No one even has a ceiling close. I think TJ Warren. This is not a LeBron thing. I think if you think that Booker is going to be stifled, then TJ Warren sort of makes some sense. It's like a narrative play off of that.
Yeah, I'm fine, I think, locking LeBron in just because I feel comfortable affording other guys with LeBron even. So it's kind of a point of you're sacrificing LeBron for what? I do think you can go like say Aaron Gordon's out and you get Jeff Green and pair him with Wiggins or pair him with Crowder or whatever. One of the Phoenix guys, if you want to go really cheap and then just load up everywhere else, fade Yogi Ferrell, even fade Seth Curry, who's going to have crazy high ownership. There are ways to come up with contrarian lineups without LeBron, but I don't think I'm going to go that route.
They're very suboptimal.
Yeah, going back to this, I think Warren definitely is my favorite small forward tournament play out of anybody. Just kind of like true ceiling. I think if I'm looking at this Memphis team, the place I'm attacking it is at small forward with Chandler Parsons. Warren plays 62% of his minutes there, and he's shown like a legit ceiling this season. So he's kind of the guy I'm looking at if I want to kind of take a flyer and shot at someone with who can win me a GPP.
Yeah, that's fair. Like if you're just looking at ceiling, like he probably has the higher one.
We obviously talked about all these Brooklyn guys just briefly about how we're not too interested. If we had to play someone outside of Brook Lopez, which we like on DK as always, I think on DK where he's
it's DK.
Yeah, DK. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where he's 6,500. So if you have to play a Nets, if you have to play, it's Boyan.
I prefer Levert.
I think I do too. Actually, Karras.
I don't prefer either of them, but
I think be out. I think for me, to go that route, I think I'm on team fade Brooklyn outside of Brook unless they rest a couple guys.
I think Levert would be interesting if he was getting minutes.
That's the thing.
For sure. He's been kind of like 24 though.
Yeah,
it's not enough. But let's talk about this Nets thing for a little bit. It boggles my mind why they're resting guys. These guys, some of the guys they're resting are like super young. Like, why are you resting Karras LeVert ever? Like, he's been rested like twice in the last 5 games.
There are a lot of things with the Nets that haven't made sense with them playing just crazy fast. It just doesn't fit.
Like trading away all their picks.
Why would you do that?
They're tapering for what? They're tapering for the toilet bowl or something. What are they resting?
But you're burning your guy. It's just so dumb because they're playing so fast. It's stupid. It's getting why don't you it's not helping them. They're the worst team in the league. They're absolutely horrible and they're just getting run out the gym. Their guys getting tired. The resting guys a lot. I think they've held the number 1 pace rating the whole season pretty much.
And in general, and just from this is true with any sport, the better team over a longer period of possessions has more time to be better. So if you're an advantage, that's like Dallas. If you're a bad team, you should play slow.
It's so stupid. You look at Dallas, who plays really slow, and they're not that good, but that's how they can win games. Some other teams play really slow and grind it out.
Yeah, it's like the Cavs against the Warriors. Like if you have lesser talent, you slow down the pace. Like that's just how it goes.
I love your example. If you're the Cavs, you have lesser talent.
Poor Cavs.
Poor LeBron. You sound like LeBron up here.
We need more help.
No, they're not an untalented team. But I mean, come on.
I mean, the Nets are just I don't know. They're so stupid. It's
Caris LeVert's probably their best prospect.
Asset.
What does that say? Yeah.
It's the asset.
Yeah.
I mean, he's looked good, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to go near them unless we get word that a couple of them are resting, and even then, pretty limited. Brook, obviously. I mean, I like Brook a lot.
I like Brook a lot too. The problem is those guys, like with the Nets guys, and we've talked about this all the time, like you either want a floor that's high enough for cash or you want a ceiling that's high enough for tournaments. If you have neither, then like what are you doing? You know?
Brook's ceiling is fine.
No, I agree, but I'm talking about like LeVert and Bojan. Like they don't have a ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sure, Bojan might get you 24, but like
what's that? Yeah,
it's like
TJ Warren can get you 35.
They had like 8 guys for like their last game against the Cavs. Like none of those guys they just absolutely smashed either. It's like it's ridiculous.
No, it's all
that pretty much. That game is like the perfect representation of how I feel about all those players.
They have like 8 players.
Not going to do much. Yeah.
So that just means they're just going to suck. Yeah.
I think Jeff Green's the guy. I think. I mean, is that game on early probably? Because like it helped if Gordon was maybe a game time decision. We didn't get news, and then you play Jeff Green at like 4% ownership.
So you guys are on Jeff Green now? Is
now
you guys are on Jeff Green now?
All right, but like. He got 4 points the other night. Like
no, I'm very selective with where I would ever play Jeff Green. Like I don't like Jeff Green, but like there are certain spots where it's like, okay, you kind of have to consider Jeff.
Yeah, I mean consider, but then he gets you 4. It's crazy, which he just did. He just got 4.
Yeah,
but like if Gordon's out, I think that's pretty big.
I mean the last time we talked about him on a pod, I believe there was an injury too, or like he was starting or something like that. Something happened.
He wasn't starting, but yeah, there was definitely something.
Like Fournier was out, and someone was out. Someone else was out, so that's why we liked him. I think if this situation of Gordon's out,
I think it was right when after Meeks went down, maybe.
That's right.
A little bit after, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, Meeks. Yeah. I think if like we're really discussing Jeff Green a lot, that says quite a bit about the small forward spot. So that probably means you should go LeBron.
Well, yeah. I mean, tournament only as always.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, tournaments. I think I'm hard pressed to even like go heavy like fading LeBron. I think you can be.
Yeah, I think I'm. You have to locking him in.
I mean, you have to have pretty heavy. I think you can have a lot of TJ Warren, but like we talked about, Wiggins isn't really a GPP play, just given his range this season, and Crowder. So you can kind of mix it up between like Crowder, LeBron, and
I mean, what you hope from Crowder and like because it's so bad, like you don't even need like a high ceiling. You just need a guy not to bust.
Exactly, that's why you're playing. But I think Jeff Crowder's at least shown. I don't know, like he can go.
You can get up to 40. Like,
you can get up to 40 at least.
Which might be all you need. Honestly.
All right, this is a disaster. Let's move on to power forward. I'm sick of discussing.
Power forward doesn't get any better.
All right, so let's move on to center. Let's move back to point guard.
So power forward, the question is, Shannon Fry, are you okay with? I mean, he's obviously 3,800. I think maybe a slightly underappreciated floor as to what people are going to discuss today, but at 3.8, I mean, it seems like he like Yogi. Like if he's going to play 30 minutes, and at 3.8, it's hard to not play.
He's 3.4 on DK too. I think you kind of have to. He's even better there. I get it. Like he's a little scary, but I think you kind of have to lock him in no matter what. I mean, he's averaged like close to 28, 29 minutes without Love. You look at this team on the second. His team here is they're playing the second leg of the back-to-back. I had to check that just so I didn't look like a donkey. Yeah, they're playing the second leg of back-to-back. If you look at Richard Jefferson, I think he played like 30 minutes yesterday. I doubt he's going to play like much more than 25. Right? They have James Jones playing a second leg of back-to-back. I doubt he's going to play a ton of minutes. So like I think this is a game where Fry can play quite a bit. So I think given that and his price, it just kind of makes it fairly easy for me, given what he has to do to crush value.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, for cash, you kind of settle in that. I think this whole slate really is you're just going to see, especially on FanDuel, just very high ownership in cash, which is kind of to be expected at this point with a 5-game slate. But it just makes a lot of sense. You have your clear-cut value plays. You have your clear-cut elite price guys, Cat, LeBron. So you're going to, like in cash on FanDuel, it's going to be like a 2v2, maybe 3v3 if you're lucky in a lot of your head-to-heads, which is variance. So it's pretty rough, and I think it makes sense to take this slate more into a tournament realm. And in that regard, I don't know, what do you guys think about Fry from a tournament perspective with factoring in kind of ownership? Since he's such a cheap option, does it make sense to put it away and fade? And
especially a guy that's so dependent on shooting. I definitely would lean towards. I'm more, willing to fade those guys in tournaments. I like I said, do you guys have any trepidation about flying cash? Like Jay, you don't seem too crazy about like if you kind of look at his game, like anytime he plays 20+ minutes, he pretty much is a lock for 20 FanDuel points.
Yeah, I would go him in cash, but I will not even flinch when he gets 7 points. Like that's I
mean, but he's so cheap though. He's not going to.
Yeah, no, he gets you LeBron, he gets you Cat. It's just necessary. So yeah, in cash, I think he's the play. I'm saying agree. I don't even want to play cash because you have to go Fry. And I don't want to go Fry. So tournaments though, we can get in some plays. I think Ibaka, I mentioned earlier, if Gordon and Fournier are out, I'd say it's unlikely that both of them are out. But if they are, Ibaka gets a team high usage rate bump, 4.4%, +8 DraftKings plus-minus differential per 36 minutes, a team high as well. So Ibaka is definitely intriguing. He profiles more as a tournament play anyways. So he's a guy I think kind of looking at these power forwards, that whole price range really, if you kind of factor in ownership and ceiling, which is all I care about really in tournaments. I'm not too worried about floor with tournament plays. So Ibaka is that guy for me. And Bryan, I know you like Zebo a lot. Is that like a pairing in tournaments? Kind of Ibaka Zebo that you like?
I do like that quite a bit. I mean, Zebo's been so good lately. He's been playing high minutes. And you can question whether that's going to continue. But I mean, he's just smashed. And I think there's going to be a discussion, especially if JaMychal Green is out and Zebo potentially moves to the starting role, whether that's a good thing for Zebo. And I think on the surface, no. I think we can all agree that we like Zebo crushing against second units. But I think against Chris, I think like in this 1-1 matchup, it's fine. So like I sort of like Zebo either way, sort of regardless of whether Green is in.
My worry with Zebo is that the Suns go small and they'll play like athletic guys like PJ Tucker or TJ Warren at the 4, and they don't play Zebo that much. That's kind of my concern with him, is just minutes downside. I mean, you kind of look at the last game he played against the Jazz, which he absolutely smashed. That front court necessitates that you have to play big to kind of counter their front court. So that's just my worry with Zebo, is just minutes downside, which makes him a tournament-only play for me. I get what you're saying. I think I'd actually prefer him as a starter today if JaMychal's out, just because I know there's like some stability with minutes. If he was coming off the bench, and they started, I don't know, like James Ennis or something at the 4, I'd be worried just because they'd stay small like the entire game, So I think I just in this case maybe prefer Zebo as a starter, just so I know he's actually locked into like 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the game right before that against Portland, who is a team that will gladly play Aminu at the 4.
Small.
And he's still smashed. He smashed just as hard. So, I think Memphis, like, they are like true to their identity, and like, so I think Zebo, like, he's going to get 28 to 32 minutes. Or at least maybe that's just a bad call. I think like he's going to get that regardless of what the Suns do. Like I don't think the Grizzlies let other teams dictate what their rotations are.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Zebo's like a weapon against this team. They should use him. Like I get that the Suns could go small and then Zebo might play, but it's the opposite that I'm kind of intrigued by, that they crush with Zebo off the bench and the Suns can't really stop him.
Yeah.
So but I agree. It's either way.
If they do go small, that might be good for Zebo.
Yeah. Exactly, because then he can punch. You'd think they'd feed him more. And I agree, Memphis plays true to their identity. They always play slow. So we'll kind of see. But I think either way, I'm more, treated him as a tournament play. But one I like quite a bit.
Justin, what are you doing with these Detroit guys? I mean, I hate this road rotation.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I mean, I usually like Tobias a lot off the bench, but he hasn't been playing enough minutes, and he just hasn't been. He's been pretty underwhelming. I think he's a decent tournament player. I mean, honestly, we like to attack this Celtics front court quite a bit, and I think this is a spot where ownership's going to be low just because of recency bias. All these guys have just been underwhelming as of late, and I don't think anybody's going to be really on them. So this is a good opportunity, given the good matchup, to kind of capitalize on them and kind of take some shots here. I obviously don't like any of these guys in cash, but don't mind some Tobias in tournaments at all. I don't think he's going to keep playing like 25 minutes. I mean, Stanley Johnson played a lot last game. He should be closer to like 27, 28, 29, I think. So I don't mind him. I think if I'm picking it, he's probably the guy I'm looking at. What do we think about Marcus Morris?
I mean, really, it's a guy who has upside. So, like, why not? It's just a really small slate. You have to get contrarian. He'll have low ownership. I'm fine with having some of him. I mean, if I make 50 teams, I don't mind having 5 Marcus Morris lineups, for example, something like that. I think that's fine. With a guy who, I mean, coming off 2 pretty poor games, but I think the 2 before that were fine. You don't really have – I mean, outside of Fry, I don't think there's like a clear kind of chalk play. So the ownership should be distributed pretty equally, kind of with that mid-tier range with Gorgie Jang. I think might have a decent amount of cash ownership just kind of with his minutes floor, and you look at these other options that are volatile. So I think Marcus is in the mix. But after that, it's like, I mean, do you want any like Trevor Booker or I mean, like, who else are you kind of going to differentiate yourself?
I think 2 guys that are potentially interesting. So you got James Johnson, who's sort of been like, you only play him without Whiteside, but he played over 30 minutes even in Whiteside's return yesterday. So he's way overpriced at $6K relative to the fact that like Whiteside is back and Willie Reed's, still get some minutes. But like that's going to keep his ownership low. And like he smashed yesterday against or this weekend, even with Whiteside back. So I think if you're just looking for a really contrarian guy, he's the guy. And then like I don't hate Dirk. Like if you're just sort of thinking about
second leg of a back-to-back though, Brian. I mean, you run the trend. It's not good this season on the second.
So what do we think is meant? Because, like, if you think matchup-wise, like, against Channing Frye, like, that's not a bad matchup.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, Brian. I thought about it too. Like, I've thought about bumping Dirk's projection up, but it's just like, I think it's physical for him. Like, does he have lift? Like, can he, I worry about that aspect more than like the matchup. I think it's more about like him in a vacuum rather than, him taking advantage of the spot. So, like I said, I mean, we mentioned earlier, like they have a pretty high team total relative to like what we should expect for them. So, like, it's, like, I was coming in like kind of lower on their team minutes. I was looking like for a way to bump them. But I think the way to bump is probably through like Seth Curry and Wes Matthews rather than Dirk.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Dirk has 7 blocks over his last 2 games.
Yeah.
It's very sustainable. Yeah.
No, it's not sustainable, but it's just awesome. Like, good. How does
he can't even jump anymore?
Oh, he can dunk. Didn't he dunk this season already? Yeah.
Him and Zaza having a bet on dunking. Ridiculous.
That's right. It's Photoshop. That's right.
Power
forward's pretty rough. I mean, we kind of mentioned all the viable options.
Yeah. And Jang, we talked about the correlation. So, all right, let's move on to center then. I think with LeBron, so especially on FanDuel, I think DraftKings is interesting. You could potentially get off Towns and come down to a guy I'm sure we'll discuss. But I think on FanDuel, like LeBron is like almost a must play at small forward. I think Cat is almost a must play at center. Jay, where are you at?
Yeah, it comes down to usually with Cat, it's can you afford him and not kill your lineup because of it. And I mean, that's pretty much it at this point. Is he at home, I guess, another factor. But he's just on fire, and you can afford him pretty easily in cash on this slate. That's not FanDuel. So, I'm going Cat on FanDuel and not really thinking too much.
You have to. I mean, there's literally no choice. I think he's a bigger must for me than even LeBron. And I think small forward is considerably worse today than center. And I still say that just because I think Cat can legitimately go for 60 and like FanDuel points in this one because this matchup is like a dream against Orlando. I mean, in these spots, you just don't overthink it with Cat when he's at home with the plus matchup. He's just so reliable, so consistent. So let's get into some other guys here. I think the guy I like the most here, especially on FanDuel, is Andre Drummond. Put up 20 and 17 in 35 minutes against the Celtics earlier this season. You talk about a Celtics front court that might be without Al Horford today, which even gets worse. So Drummond, I think I mentioned Drummond and Reggie as a really nice stack earlier. I'm all over that today. I think it's if you're pivoting off Cat at all on FanDuel, it's to Drummond. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, he had put up 50 just last game. If you're just looking for a GPP, and that I think it's interesting. I think coming off LeBron at small forward is tough, even in tournaments. Coming off Cat is interesting because you do have Drummond.
I kind of like it, for tournaments.
And because you have guys in Drummond and Brook Lopez, who both just put up over 50 FanDuel points in their last game. And then you have a guy where I think that you might even have a case of whether you go him and cash over Cat on DraftKings. Gasol.
Yeah, you take away Gasol's last game versus Gobert, the best defender besides Embiid, and he averaged 51 DK points 6 games before that. So, I even like some Gasol in tournaments on FanDuel because he has that ceiling.
Yeah.
And I know he's 9K. It makes way more sense to go on DK. But as far as kind of differentiating yourself in lineups, I'm still fine with going him as a pivot to Cat. If for whatever reason Cat gets under 50 and Gasol gets mid-50s, cheaper price point, that's kind of what you're looking at in tournaments. So Gasol's probably my favorite guy as a contrarian play. I mean, Drummond, it's close with him and Drummond. And after that, I think it falls down. What do you do with – since we're dead set on Cat and cash, what do you do with a Olynyk if Horford's out?
You leave him on the bench.
You just let him be. You just let him die and wither away. He's been nice with Horford out. It's kind of I'd like to go in cash maybe on a full slate where you can get Harden or Russ or whatever. But we don't really have that today. Yeah. Is there any upside in going really cheap at center and sacrificing the massive upside from Cat, Drummond, Gasol?
Wouldn't you rather have Tristan against the worst rebounding team in the league?
I don't know, man. I don't want to chase those points. Tristan.
I don't want to chase him either, but it is one of the best matchups for opposing centers.
Yeah, maybe. He's in the mix.
I get what you're saying about
that. So but either way, both those guys. What do you do with them? In tournaments, just knowing that you're sacrificing that massive ceiling from these other.
Yeah. They are going to be low, so there is something to that. I will say, in my breakdown, I looked at on-off just with JaMychal Green out of the lineup. In the 2 games this year without JaMychal Green playing at all, Gasol averaged 51.1 DK points, which was a plus 15.2 plus minus. So Gasol is just smashed in the 2 games without JaMychal.
So great timing, Brian, because I just ran a Marc Gasol trend, and his pace differential today is plus 6.6 against the Suns. I ran a trend this season when the pace differential has been 4 or more. He's averaged 42.6 DK points with an 82% consistency. So, on DK, definitely, I think he's probably the top center play. I don't think that's a stretch at all. I talked about how much I just like Cat, but where'd you go, Marc Gasol or Brook Lopez? I'd probably go Gasol, right?
I go Gasol.
Yeah, I think I would too.
You like Brook a lot,
but Brook is nice.
That's just too cheap.
Yeah, Brook's real nice. Yeah.
I don't know. Cash, on DK, you still want to go LeBron, of course.
I really like going 2 of Brook, Cat, and Gasol onto DraftKings.
I like that too. Yeah, I like that a lot. I would love to go. Yeah, if I'm making tourney lineups on DK, I'm going a lot of them 2 centers.
2 centers. Yeah, I like
and maybe Fry and power forward, but Cat's power forward eligible as well. So
because people are going to go 2 point guards so often, going 2 centers, even though they have probably higher upside, is probably going to be a contrarian tactic.
I think you can argue that 4 of the top plays on DK are centers. Gasol, Brook Lopez, Drummond, and Carlton Towns.
Yeah.
So just load up on those guys in tournaments. I think that's the play.
So there's one guy. What do we do? No. Vooch hasn't been good on back-to-backs. I'm not as high on him. I'm talking about our long-lost pal, Hassan Whiteside. What do we do with him? Like, is his ownership going to be like 5% tonight?
He might not be owned in a single lineup, 0%.
That's crazy. I mean, playing
is
against
it crazy though? Like, I mean, obviously a tough match. I mean, a great matchup, but like he's cracked 40 DK points. He's cracked 40 DK points once since like late December.
It's only against the Warriors.
Yeah, 2020. I know. But like, he's still capable. I mean,
he's not a bad player.
Like,
and it's against Brooklyn, literally the best matchup in the world.
I know. So
I mean, I think
he got injured last time. So
I think my knock with Hassan is just the minutes lately.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think he's going to play 30 plus, so that like limits his upside. I think it's a fine secondary play, but like I still concentrate my exposure on those 4 that we mentioned earlier. Like with those 4, I don't know. I like those other guys could legitimately push for like 50, 60. I have a tough time seeing Hassan dropping 50 plus.
I would love
28
to see
minutes.
I've really missed Whiteside lately. It's been.
I know.
It's
so bad.
Just watch.
Well, because the offense has just run through the backcourt now with Dragic and Waiters. Yeah.
Waiters kind of ruined everything, as he usually does. I mean, I'm just looking at this from a
tournament
standpoint and being like,
No, it's a good call.
Look at Whiteside. It's like, kind of like, okay, I agree. It doesn't like you look at all these other guys. I'm like, okay, I like their price better. I like their ceiling better. I like their realistic production.
But everyone's going to think that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, Whiteside might really fall off here.
Gasol's 300, only 300 more than Whiteside, and Brook Lopez is cheaper.
Yeah, I know.
I can't get around that. Like, if Whiteside was priced down, then I'm all in. But like,
then more people would be on him. Maybe
it's true. You get him really low, I think.
Yeah, really cheap.
One guy that I do want to mention here, he's by far the worst matchup. He'll be very low owned. Is Tyson, who's crushed. Like it's a really bad matchup. But like if you just think about it, like if they start James Ennis instead of Jermichael if he's out, then it's a matchup front court with James Ennis and Marc Gasol. And Marc Gasol has posted a career low rebound rate. He's only grabbing 10% of the available boards this year. So he's this year been maybe like Brook Lopez, one of the worst rebounding centers in the league. And if they're not going to go big with with Jermichael or Zebo, there's a lot of rebounding upside for Tyson. Is all I'm saying.
Well, Brandon Wright's going to see some minutes. We're expected to. So
so that helps.
That a little bit, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, Chandler's
It's just a shot in the dark. It's shot in the dark just because the history isn't there either. Kind of just ran a trend the last 3 times he's played Memphis. 7.3, 29.5, 21.5 DK points. So it's like you're kind of just taking a shot there. I get what you're saying though. He's going to play a lot. At least, right? I fully expect him to play 30 plus, and if not 35 minutes in this one, just because they need him against Mark. So
out of 100 lineups, like 1 or 2, throw him in, see if he goes off. But I mean, any other guys? We sort of hit on the bottom guys in Olynyk and Tristan, but I mean,
we have to at least bring up Horford. Like, what do you do with that? He's had massive games in similar spots where nobody's on him. Remember that first game he came back from his concussion? He went for like.
I mean especially at his price point. I mean, on DK, like you got to at least look at him in tournaments, right?
It's a small slate.
I mean, what I like about Horford a little bit is that he's been smashing without being that great on the boards, right? And my biggest concern with his matchup is just rebounding against Drummond. So, I mean, Horford's proven that he can put up 3 rebounds against the Rockets. He put up 46 FanDuel points. So it's like he can still go off, without rebounding the ball at least.
I'll be pretty light on him, and that's even if he plays. I don't know.
That's fair.
He might be limited too.
Yeah, there's no update on him, and so I mean, we didn't really talk about Vucevic that much, but the matchup we like. Second leg of back-to-back, pull up a trend. It's not great for him. Right. What are you doing with him? I mean, he went off last night.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he's in the same like Horford,
Yeah,
nice ceiling, but and we'll have low ownership, but you're still sort of concerned. There's some concerns there, so.
Okay.
I mean,
maybe slightly above ownership. Yeah.
If some of these injuries swing his way, then I'd be more interested in Vucevic. You know, if like Fournier's out again, Aaron Gordon's out again, or Aaron Gordon's out, then like, you know, I think Vooch is definitely a lot more attractive to me than like Horford, who I think might be limited.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Vooch is up there. He'll be slept on, but yeah, center and point guard are both just
loaded.
Kind of
loaded. Yeah, and then the wing spots.
yeah. DK, when you build lineups on our site, you just for your utility, you only allow center and point guard. I think is what I'll do.
Yeah,
I don't want like 3 shooting guards.
No, probably not. But I think sort of after the pod, it really reaffirms like LeBron. You should play LeBron today.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Any last thoughts, fellas, or we can end it there?
I think that's it. I think we covered almost every relevant player.
I think we talked almost about every player playing at least 15 minutes. So
I think it'll be interesting in tournaments. I'm really interested in tournaments. Just like I think your edge is kind of picking the right point guards here. I think there's a lot of different options to go and a lot of good spots there to take advantage of at point guard, especially on DK.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the loaded position, that and center. So. Cool. All right, we will end it there. Thank you guys for listening. Definitely good luck in tournaments and cash and whatever you're playing tonight, and we will be back very soon.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck, guys.